Sorry, I got tears in my eyes still.
Maya Nelson, world champion. Congratulations, how are you feeling?
I am elated. I am so happy right now. And like first and foremost, like all the glory goes to God. And without him, without my faith, I would not be here, so.
Your day starts with tears, it ends with tears.
Yeah. I'm a big baby. It's okay. You can be a big baby as long as you work hard, am I right?
You mentioned earlier how nervous you were, how the emotions were kind of getting to you before. How were you before this match?
Still nervous. Still nervous. I get nervous, and I think it's more excitement than nervousness now that I'm like starting to just get my mojo into, I mean, I've been wrestling for a while, but I mean, I've always had that feeling, and I always related it with nervousness. I always related it with something negative. And I think on this match, I was just like, that's not nervousness, that is excitement, and I can do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm not stepping off that mat until I am a world champion.
Now that you've done it, what do you think?
I want more.
Take us through your match a little bit. You seem pretty in control throughout it.
Yeah, once I got my hands on her and I snapped her down the first time, I was like, I got this. You know, and I moved her around and I got my offense off, so that was exciting for me. And then Erin was just yelling, take your double, blast through her, and you know, it was off of a reshot, but that's most of my offense, so just went for that double, and she was right. Erin's always right.
Maya, can you take us back to the beginning? How did you get started in wrestling? How old were you? And where along the line did winning a world title start creeping in your mind?
I was 4 years old when I started wrestling. My dad was a coach for a little league, and I wanted to be daddy's little girl. Like, not only did I do wrestling, I also did football. I did anything that I could do, track. I did anything that my dad was coaching at. I was really young when I started sports. And I don't know, something kind of shifted where I wasn't trying to be daddy's little girl anymore, and I think a lot of that had to do with my mom. Like my dad is the reason I started wrestling, my mom is the reason I continued to stick with it. And I just owe a lot to my parents. They are great, and they always push me, they never let me quit. And I think I didn't really know there were other women wrestlers except for Adeline Gray, who was the only other woman wrestling in high school around the time I was growing up. And then she started talking to me and like, you gotta go to Bodyguard, you gotta go to all these women's tournaments. So I started going to the women's tournaments, and that's all she wrote. Here I am. I got into USA Wrestling, and I wanted to be a world champion. That's the ultimate goal.
When did you first start thinking this big?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Like, does anybody have a start date of when they start thinking this big? I think whenever anyone starts anything, or maybe it's just me being a hopeful human being, but whenever I start something, I want to be the most successful, the highest, the top that I could be. And if it was a state title, then that would have been my goal, and it was my goal in high school. And then it was like, well, I could win a world title, which is an even bigger goal, and the ultimate goal is to win an Olympic title.
So congratulations, Maya.
Thank you.